Robert Esuka Endeli as the new paramount chief of the Bakreries, which took place over the weekend on Saturday, March 18, 2022 at the Palapala Field, Bakri town, saw the presence of several Cameroonian dignitaries and traditional rulers. Let's have these excerpts of some traditional rulers present for the occasion.
As a new chief, you learn from the older chiefs. And I think in the Nsah Banjo, the few chiefs from Limbe, from Tiko, from Muka, all the subdivisions, gave them experiences they've been having of leadership. And these lessons are ongoing. And I think they will continue to inspire him and encourage him.
3 ministers in the line, not only 3, even the director of cabinet at the Prime Minister's office is also a minister, you know. So we are very happy, and we feel that we have been given what we merit.
Some members of Parliament have expressed their views regarding the re-election of Honorable Kavayeye Jibril as President of the National Assembly. He was re-elected on Friday, March 17 after winning SDF's Honorable Jean-Michel Nietzsche 148 votes to 1. We get the MPs speak out in this report signed Colette Loom.
Honorable Kavayeye Jibril. In the same light of elections as Honorable Kavayeye Jibril re-elected as the Speaker of the National Assembly, a position he took charge, more is still required of him as far as the lower house of Parliament is concerned. The election, which equally took place over the weekend in a plenary sitting chaired by the Provisional Bureau led by the eldest member of Parliament, Honorable Laurentine Kouamfege. A major change in the Permanent Bureau of 23 members was that of Honorable Mary Muyali Megboko, elected as the Deputy Speaker, and Honorable Parliament Eli Ndumbe, who moves in as one of the 12 secretaries.
Certain that she was supposed to be, it was certain, because actually she has been handling the post of vice of the group of the CPDM group, and she has been doing quite fine, and so there was no reason for us dancing. We knew she was going to take up where Madame de Foucault left. It was certain.
It should be recalled, the Speaker of the National Assembly emerged winner with 148 votes as he remains on track as House Speaker for the last 3 decades.
Nobody is surprised if this political party is winning the majority of responsibilities inside this bureau. So we cannot be surprised by the same thing every year. They have the majority, and it is normal that they win the majority of posts or of responsibility inside this bureau.
As much is still expected of him, it was obvious he will roar as the lion and maintain the position going by this honorable.
We are happy today because everything is set. And when the bureau is elected, work goes on very smoothly. And our candidate was a natural candidate. From up to down, we are all behind him because we know the work he has done for all this time has been. So there was no reason for change.
Cameroonians are therefore hoping he will be graced with strength in his maintained status quo. A lot is also expected of him and the MPs since the country is plagued with incessant turbulence.
This is what is left of a pharmaceutical warehouse of the extended immunization program in the far north region of the country after it was reduced to ashes by white flames. The fire incident, which occurred on Sunday, March 20 at the regional delegation of the public health in Maroa, is said to have been difficult to control by the 401 Mara firefighting brigade. The incident is reported to have caused a huge material loss. 101 bags of cannabis, representing about 3,716 kilograms of the drug, were incinerated over the weekend in the Nkolbikon district of Bertwa East region of the country under the supervision of the administrative and security authorities. The cannabis, with a market value of between 55 and 60 million francs CFA, was seized on February 16 by the Gendarmerie Legion of the Eastern region. Family members of a lady identified as Faith Ngaji are still in shock after she was found dead in her Bafoussam residence in the west region of the country over the weekend. According to reports, the victim from Kambe Ndonga Mantong division in the northwest region was raped and stabbed to death by unknown persons. Beholding the sight of their daughter Faith in her own pool of blood stained on the wall of her room, the family is said to have been in consternation. Review of road projects for the first quarter of 2022. The Minister of Public Works, Emmanuel Nganu Jumesi, will lead consultations bringing together all actors associated with the implementation of road and highway infrastructure projects from this day, March 21. These meetings, which will end on the 23rd of March, will take place in the nation's capital at the conference hall of the Ministry of Public Works. On our feature page, we talk about sex traffickers and network prostitution, which is said to be at the rise in the nation's capital. Our reporter Colette Loom was on the streets in Mokolo, that's in Yaoundé, to find out about this traffic or this traffic stuff. Let's have a report right away.
Women and girls are usually trafficked for the purpose of sexual and economic exploitations, particularly prostitution and pornography, forced labor, and what have you. In cities like Yaoundé, this act is becoming rampant by the day as the economy tightens up. Most girls in these parts of the country are exploiting means of survival. A place in the career quarters after Marché Mokolo, where we visited at night, these girls give in wholehearted body and soul in exchange of quick cash. Behind closed doors, others are into merchandise of these ladies with promised visas to go to countries like Kuwait, Lebanon, along the Mediterranean Sea, sailing abroad through extremely risky paths. In a close and hidden telephone camera, we visited one of these ports in the nation's capital at night over the weekend, pretending to buy drinks, and the numbers of girls involved in this act is a cause for concern. Speaking to one of the French-speaking girls indulged in the act, but now with a terrible and bad experience, she explained at a hidden camera in her skills of having a mastery of the Queen's language to an extent.
The first day I went there, I looked and I saw so many girls. So many girls. And what you do is you sit down and then a man has to come and choose. He has to come and pick you, like the way you go to the market and pick potatoes. He has to come and say, I like this one is the one I'm going with. Had a client in the room, the rest of us would sleep in the couch in the sitting room and wait for the one who is at the room to finish.
While other ladies toy by roadside, in markets, and even in farms to make ends meet, some as nannies, some even clean the street and save the little they earn to acquire skills and upgrade themselves educational-wise by learning a trade. Other girls in the nation's capital hunt for quick cash and end up regretting because they finally get infected and end up losing their lives. At the end of the day, everyone is entitled to the decision they take, and whatever decision they embark on will either make or mar. Thus, lack, suffering is not an excuse for indulging in acts of this magnitude.
And out of the country, the Congolese Minister of Public or Primary Education has been accused of having embezzled nearly $400,000 allocated to the organization of the first African School Football Championship in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The Democratic Republic of Congo's General Inspectorate of Finance over the weekend, Saturday, March 19, issued accusations indicating that out of $1 million allocated to the government, the ministry failed to account fully for their expenses. The accusations range from over-quotation of transport charges and lack of accountability in other purchases like T-shirts for participants. President Felix Tshisekedi had placed the fight against embezzlement of public funds and corruption as one of his priorities during his mandate, which began on January 2019. DR Congo's Ministry of Primary Education staff, Vital Kamehe, was sentenced to 13 years in prison, with himself reported to be on provisional release and receiving medical treatment in Europe. We now talk about the ongoing crisis in Ukraine, as some Ukrainian civilians have joined units of young volunteers who are presently fighting the Russian army. Some of these groups with nationalist and even ultra-nationalist ideology are said to have a sulfurous reputation. It is the case of the Organization of Ukrainian Nationalists, abbreviated as OUN, which has existed for nearly a century and was already fighting the pro-Russian separatists in the Donbass in 2014. The OUN actively collaborated with the Nazis before and during World War II in the name of the common struggle against the Soviets. Oleg Madech, a former pastor who supervises the OUN Youth Volunteer Unit, says extremist positions are in the minority of the organization's rank. According to him, some members, however, go too far, but they are not representatives of this organization. Since the Russian invasion, the OUN says it has deployed more than 500 fighters, many of them around Kyiv, which concentrates most of their efforts. We have come to the end of today's edition of Prime Flash, produced by Junior Pelama, and thanks to the assistance of our other technician, Chinda. Faithful viewers, you have more details and many more on our 3:30 or on our 6:30 p.m. Prime Info with Fon Quinta. Coming up next is In the House with Eileen Sama and her ladies. Have a nice day.